Golden child is stealing money for games from parents while my parents are in a financial struggle. What should I do? I am 19 years old, with two older brothers and one younger sister. My oldest brother has Duchenne muscular dystrophy and is confined to his bed at home. My other brother is the person of interest here. My older brother has a serious gaming addiction. It's gotten to a point where it is harming my family mentally and financially. It all started in November 2014. My brother was in a guild on MMORPG. That month, he and his internet friends decided to get wasted over Skype, which is essentially what he did. He vomited on his laptop and destroyed the $2,500 MacBook my parents had given him for college. He wanted to get it fixed for $1,800. He used a co-signed credit card to pay for it, co-signed by my father. In December 2014, my brother left the house to go to a 2-week meet-up with his guild. He hadn't warned us and left without saying a single word. The week prior to that, my father had received notifications of fraudulent activities on his credit/debit cards, which he had apparently lost. We didn't find out who it was until I personally checked call logs and called the company to release the name of the person who purchased a plane ticket on the card. Essentially, it was my brother. He had wire transferred $3,000 to his bank account and purchased a plane ticket to California for $700. Additionally, he withdrew $300 from my other brother's Medicaid SSI account. My parents threatened to kick him out at this point, but didn't. He returned home with no repercussions. He took the semester off to work at my mom's nail salon at 100% pay, meaning he paid for no supplies. He eventually paid them back. I had no problem with this as long as he paid them back and didn't do it again. My parents decided to hold his money for him for school. He was disqualified from financial aid and scholarships for dropping and failing too many classes. My parents had prepaid college set up for him. He accumulated approximately $8,000 after paying his debt from working between January to July, and then went to school from August, early December. My parents held all of this money. In December 2015, he didn't come home one day. Undoubtedly, I knew where he went. To California again. I had no problem as long as he paid for it, which at that time I assumed he did. After tuition, fees, books, he only had $5,000. My parents held this money. So here we go again. He took my dad's credit card, wire transferred $3,000, and left. My dad found out and canceled the card immediately. What I didn't know was that he had taken this money from my parents, so I personally wired him $1,500 for his car rental and whatever else over the course 2 weeks in California, assuming that he would pay me back as soon as he came home. Towards the end of the trip, he called my dad and asked for $1,500 to pay for the car. I was unaware of this for a few months. My dad agreed and sent him $1,500. He came home and my parents deducted what he had taken. However, he had no money to pay me back. His pay went to 60%/40%. 60% is what he earned for the service at the nail salon. 40% went to supplies. In February 2016, his girlfriend comes over from California and here I am, still out of my $1,500, yet he's able to go out and spend it on her. I was clearly salty and did not acknowledge the relationship. In mid-March 2016, he decided that he would go to California without anyone knowing. I wasn't fine with this as he still had owed me $1,500. I found out as I heard him talking about it on my way to the restroom and figured the date. I told my parents. My dad threatened to kick him out. This is the third time, but my mother didn't want that. He ended up not going and forfeited the plane ticket. The following weeks, he began paying me back. I was fine with whatever he did, as I was finally receiving my money back. Here's where the story gets interesting. April 8, 2016. My father receives a call from the nail salon's bank account with suspicious activity. I walk into the house after school and all I hear is yelling. My father demanded that my brother leave the house. I was wondering why. On his office desk, I saw copies of 9 checks written from February 6, 2016 to April 3, 2016, totaling $18,814. They were all issued under my brother's name, in his handwriting and forged from the business bank account. My eyes widened and I honestly did not know what to do. My father demanded him to go to the bank and withdraw all the money. He had none. My father went to the bank himself and was only able to reverse one check for $900. He doesn't want to report this. My father comes home and demands his bank statements and PayPal statements. I personally review the documents and see that over the past 2 months, he has spent $150 to $500 daily on NCSoft, Steam, Nexon, Gaio Online, etc. I also see several PayPal gifts for $50 to an account in California, perhaps to his girlfriend. My dad has decided to abandon him, however can't as my mom doesn't want to let him go. He is her son after all. If he would be kicked out, she would worry because he would have no place to go and no job to have. 2 weeks ago, my mother said she saw 10 checks missing from the business checking book and mistakenly believed that it was a misprint, so she disregarded it. Secondly, my oldest brother has muscular dystrophy. In February, he was admitted to the hospital with severe pneumonia. He suffered a cardiac arrest, and the doctors were able to get him stable. A tracheostomy followed, and he was finally released just recently. During this time, my father was always at the hospital. He didn't work so he could care for my oldest brother. He hadn't checked his bank accounts due to this. Now, the financial situation my family is in, my parents must pay approximately $39,000 in taxes as they are self-employed. My father was recently sued for $30,000 for not being able to pay the lease on a property. He had sold his business and the new owner was supposed to now pay the rent. The new owner left the business and stopped paying the rent. The lease was still under my dad's name, so he is legally responsible. My parents still owe $250,000 for the house we live in. My parents owe $100,000 on the failed business venture to family members. My aunt and her family of 5 total have immigrated to the U.S. and are currently living under our household. I am starting optometry school come August and will be needing to take out direct unsubsidized Stafford loans. Originally, my parents had offered to lend me money with no interest, but due to the loss of $19,000, they are currently unable to. I earned a full scholarship for undergrad and saved excess scholarships towards optometry school. What can I do? I was so fed up with my brother's actions that I have personally told him to leave the house. I am absolutely appalled that someone would actually bite the hands that house and feed them. My father wants him to leave, but my mother rejects and is in a stuck position where she cannot forgive him and cannot deal with a $19,000 loss. It breaks my heart to see my mother so devastated. TLDR, my brother fraudulently forged $19,000 in checks off of my parents' business bank account. My parents are stuck on what to do, and I want to help.